Hey guys, welcome to our next build. The next build is going to be for the 2016 box stock community build being held by Cliff, aka Roadhog 0822. Cliff held this about 2 years ago and I joined in and I think it was a 54 Ford Bent 8, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, he had well over 60 people in the build. It was a lot of fun. Last year, I don't believe there was one, and then now it's starting up again. And I have a couple different irons in the fire, so to speak, but I felt guilty because Cliff was also doing it. He does an annual cancer awareness build, and this year I didn't join in, and the reason I didn't join in was because I already have two cancer awareness builds from his last one the year before that still sitting on my shelf incomplete, so I kind of felt funny to start more when I didn't finish the other ones yet. But I like the box stock community build. It's a very fun build, very quick, simple, lack of a better word, kind of getting back to the roots of model building, because there's no additives that you can do to your car or whatever it is you're building. I just happen to be choosing a car, and I think the majority of people are. The group build is going to be running from, I believe it's March 1st to March 31st. Cliff will correct us if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it is. And my choice is this one right here, the McLaren Mustang, or the M80 as it was coded as. Now this car is actually kind of plain Jane if you think about it, especially compared to today. But back in the day when this sucker was hitting the market, it was cutting edge technology. If you remember, back in the late 70s, OPEC went and gave a big old bitch slap to the Western Hemisphere, and inevitably it was just killed off the big V8 muscle cars of the 60s and 80s. The tire shredding V8s were gone. Ford's Mustang at the time was running a V8, a 4.2 liter V8, I believe it is, and it was wheezing out a whopping 118 horsepower. I mean, his thing couldn't barely get out of its own way. It was a joke. It didn't really deserve the Mustang logo. But anyway, Ford, in partnership with McLaren, got together and they went to prove that they could still be some horsepower. The world had to change. Like I said, without the power and the price of oil and everything, they had to change our ways. And they came out with an idea of using a current motor, which in that time was the 2.3 liter four-cylinder. And they made some tweaks to it. They gave it to McLaren. McLaren did some tweaks to it. They worked it with the turbo. And that turbo motor that they were working with was actually had an adjustable turbo which can be adjusted inside the car, which was revolutionary, and it went from 5 psi to 11 psi, and it was rated at about 175 horsepower at the time. I think it did the quarter mile in I think it was like 17 point something seconds, 79 miles an hour. It was really cutting edge for the time. And the other goal behind this project for Ford was they wanted people to see that they could have power and style using components that were on the shelves already without having to go out and get something special. Now, there was only slated to be about 250 of these cars to be built, and really these cars weren't going to be hitting the showrooms as sale cars for the customers. The idea was really to get these cars to the dealerships and to pull in customers for other cars. Now, as I said, the motor, they had the 2.3 liter, which McLaren revitalized. Using Ford's motor, they just did their thing to it and made it a lot better. They lowered the front end, put a beefier suspension in it. I think they took components out of the Fairmont police car at the time, which Ford was making. They put these skirts on it. Okay, again, it was lowered. They had special rims from Germany. I forget what they were called. They also had to deal with Firestone at the time, and the tires that we're putting on weren't even on the market yet. Firestone was designing special tires specifically to be shown on this car. The interior was pretty much a stock Mustang interior. It did have a roll bar. Again, it had the adjustable turbo inside. So it was pretty cool. And of course, Ford knew that these would eventually hit the streets because they weren't just going to put them in front of a dealership and then trash them later. But the price tag for these things skyrocketed. I mean, they ended up coming in around $25,000 each for 1980. That was a lot of money. So basically 10 cars were produced. I believe they were a limited number of colors. I think they definitely had this orange, which you see on all the McLaren cars anyway. That was a primary color, I believe. I know of one white one, and I've seen black. I'm not sure if there's any other colors at the time, and I'm not sure of how many exist. Actually, arguably, this car is probably the rarest of all Mustangs. Now, I'm not talking rare as in 1969, Ford made, I don't know, 300 convertibles, and only one had the optional digital clock. Rare. I mean, that's just silly. The idea is that they had a lot of convertibles and that. What I'm talking about is the rarity of a car that was designed and built, and they only had a number of 10. 10 rolled off the showroom floor, the manufacturer floor, and that's it. So it is truly a rare car. Now, a lot of people also confuse this car as being the first project of the SVO, or Special Vehicle Operations portion of Ford, and that's not really true. While SVO was assembled in 1980, I believe it was, this was really part of the motorsports division of Ford. Two separate entities at the time, but they did pull from each other to get what they had. And also, if you look at this car, you'll notice this car really is a springboard for cars that we did see in later on in Ford's future. For example, the SVO. First of all, it's a Fox body, four-eyed Fox body, which the Saleen ended up becoming. It has the skirts, which appeared on the Saleen Mustang, along with these rims. These are the same rims the early Saleens had. Also, the beefed up suspension, lower, and all that stuff, all ended up in a Saleen Mustang. Now, the engine didn't go in a Saleen, but the engine ended up going to SVO and became the SVO Mustang. Of course, it was a little bit redesigned and everything, but still, again, you can see this is the bouncing, the diving board, the spring that led into a lot of other projects for Ford. Being a Mustang guy, I had to get my hands on this. I've got two of them. So I figured this is a good time to pull it out and actually build them, because who knows when I would have. So let's take a look inside the box and see what we got. Hang on. Okay, as you can see, my box is open. It wasn't sealed. Neither of the kits that I have are sealed. The bags, they're open, but as you can see, nothing has been assembled in this kit. So, the kit comes in orange. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3 sprues of orange, a couple loose parts, clear parts, and there's no chrome parts in this kit. None whatsoever, which is really kind of cool for me, because now I don't have to dechrome it. Saves me some time. So, the kits are molded in this orange. It really is a horrible orange color, but I can see why they did that. You got your wheels, you've got your rear fascia, you've got that really unique hood. I guess there was some sort of design feature with the hood and the grille, because this car, as you can see here, it has no grille. I think the air was actually forced in through here, and something with this helped in the whole power scheme of the car. But it really is a unique looking hood. We've got the scallops for the behind the rear window. You've got the lower chassis, okay, fairly nicely detailed. It's nothing spectacular. A lot of flash throughout the kit, as you can see around here, around our 4-cylinder Mustang motor, okay. The car did come with Recaro seats, which is pretty nice, okay. The interior tub, okay, nothing special. It was just a stock Mustang. There's no real detail here on the sides, though, for the door panels, which is really kind of sad, but that's all right. And the one thing that's missing from here is the roll bar. I don't know why they left that out, and because this is box stock, I can't add it, but that's okay too. Even if I did add it, you wouldn't see it, so not a big deal. As you can see, lots and lots of flash. You got the dashboard here. Okay, the rear, the front suspension pieces. We've got our Firestone tires here. They were individually bagged by the previous owner. Keep them from melding into the plastic, which I've had happen to me before. And we've got the clear plastics, which in this case happens to be smoked. Okay, which is a nice feature because it was also smoked or tinted on the car. So that's a nice little feature there. Keep them safe. The body. This is the body. If you'll notice here, the fenders are flared. Okay, they've got these really big flares on here, which helps seat the bigger tires, I guess they put on here. And same with the back. Okay, it's a feature you didn't see on the later Fox bodies. Pretty nice and clear. Comes with a sunroof. No real seam lines that I could see. It's pretty nice and clean. Actually, it's really nice and clean comparing what's on there, the rest of the parts. But it's in pretty good shape. There's our front fascia. Again, it has no grille, but it does have the air intake here. And again, this is what you come to see on the earlier Celine Mustangs. But this will fit in here and gives it a pretty nice look. I like it. Alright, so that's that. The kit also came with this really cool collector's postcard of the car itself. So it was orange with the dark gray on the bottom, and I believe it was a black interior. And this just gives you a little bit of information. There you go. You could freeze frame, you could read that. Okay. Information on the McLaren Mustang. So, basically, that in a nutshell. Oh, decals. There are decals. Just a couple little decals, nothing special. Here's your decals. Okay. You've got the turbo for the side, which I really don't like that. The versions, even the card, you don't see that turbo on there. I don't like the look of the turbo, so I'm probably going to leave that off. It's got the decals for the headrests of the Recaro seats, and you've got the printing for the side. Okay, that's going to go right here on the lower door. And the other piece that's missing from the other versions of this car I have, I'll show you some pictures at the end, is that right here on here they had Motorcraft put in there. I kind of like that better than the turbo. But anyway, that's my build, or this will be my build for the 2016 box stock community build. So until March 1st, take care and be strong.